welcome to On the Ledge podcast, the Atlas of Deadly Plants, part 5. Yes, we're at part 5 already. And in today's episode, you get another chunk of audio from me. And speaking of audio, if you're wondering where the audiobook is on Audible and Spotify, well, so am I. It takes a while for it to be approved. It hasn't yet been approved on either of those platforms as I speak, but I will add the links into the show notes the minute they are. So you will get a chance to listen to the whole of this book. But in this minisode, if I can call it that, we're going to be having a little soupçon of writing about a particular poisonous plant. More specifically, a poisonous pea. Now, you may well know that the castor oil plant Ricinus communis produces something called ricin, which is on the UN list of biological weapons. So, quite a powerful poison. But there is another poison produced by a plant that is even more deadly than ricin, and its name is abrin, and it comes from Abrus precatorius, the rosary pea. It's much less well known than its poisonous partner, and I'll explain why in the chapter about Abrus precatorius. I hope you enjoy this. Have a listen, and if you would like to get your hands on a copy of the print version of the book, do check out the show notes where you'll find a link to go and buy yourself a copy, or you can hang on in there for the audiobook on Audible and Spotify and other audiobook platforms, or if you want it right now, you can go and buy it from my Patreon, where I think it's $7.99 right now, and you can listen through Patreon. So it's up to you, but I'd love you to get all of this book into your hands and or ears. And yes, I'd love to hear what you think of it too. Please do go and leave a review in the usual places. Right, anyway, on with Abrus precatorius. Rosary pea. Latin name Abrus precatorius. Family Fabaceae. Native to Africa, Middle East, Asia and Australia. The seeds of the rosary pea are unusually uniform, extremely hard and deadly poisonous. This species is not closely related to the castor oil plant in genetic terms. In chemical terms, though, its major toxin, abrin, is almost identical to the castor oil plant's ricin. Only abrin is even more deadly. A lethal dose of abrin is measured at 0.1 to 1 microgram per kilogram, whereas ricin's is between 5 and 10 micrograms per kilogram. Eating just 1 or 2 seeds is sometimes enough to kill you. Both plants are so deadly they are classed as biological weapons, yet ricin is the substance that has been more often deployed in this way, the main reason being its greater availability. The rosary pea remains largely a wild plant. It is native to large parts of Africa, the Indian subcontinent and Australia, but has spread to other tropical regions as an invasive weed. It has not been cultivated en masse by humans, whereas castor oil plants are grown by the million to produce castor oil, leaving the ricin-rich byproduct widely available as a potential source for manufacturing poison. Unlike the castor bean, the seeds of the rosary pea are a genuine bean, as the species is a member of the bean family, Fabaceae. Where the castor bean is relatively dowdy, rosary pea seeds are beautiful. Scarlet with a black patch around the hilum, a small scar that marks the spot where the seed was joined to the pea-like pod. The plant is a twining climber that grows up to 3 meters, 10 feet long. Pretty pink flowers set against finely cut foliage precede the seeds, which appear as the pods burst open when dry. It's an opportunist plant, often proliferating on land disturbed by human use, such as roadsides, and growing rapidly in areas where vegetation has been cleared by forest fires. Unfortunately, the smart ladybird livery of its seeds attracts young children who assume they will taste as good as they look. Just like castor beans, the seed coating is so leathery and hard that it is possible to eat a rosary pea seed without being poisoned, just as long as you do not chew it to release the toxins. But this is definitely not something to try at home nonetheless. Like ricin, abrin is a toxic protein that works by blocking human cells from the vital function of producing their own proteins. The symptoms of rosary pea poisoning are just the same as for the castor oil plant: diarrhea and vomiting followed by heart problems, convulsions and organ failure. There are many reported cases of rosary pea poisoning, both accidental and purposeful, but the plant also had a history of being used for a particular kind of malicious poisoning known as sui or sutari that peaked in the 19th century, mainly targeted at cattle, but also sometimes used for murdering people. The seeds were crushed, processed, and dried into needle-like shapes, 2 to 3 centimetres, 3/4 to 1 inch long, which were then injected into the skin. Rosary pea has played 2 different but vital roles in the world of jewellery. Long before electronic scales, jewellers in the Indian subcontinent needed a way to accurately measure gemstones and precious metals. They realised that, unlike other beans, rosary pea seeds are remarkably consistent in weight, so they began to be used as a unit of measure that is still in operation today. They were known as rati or rati, from the Sanskrit word ratika. Each rati weighed 0.182 grams, which is equivalent to 0.9 carats. Meanwhile, the rosary pea's beauty has earned it a role as a component in jewellery, turned into necklaces, bracelets and rosaries, as the scientific name precatorius, meaning prayerful, implies. This carries a risk, as the seeds are so poisonous that chewing on a necklace of rosary pea seeds could land you in hospital. In 2011, visitor attraction The Eden Project in Cornwall, England, issued an urgent recall notice for bracelets they had sold made from the seeds of the rosary pea. One of their own horticulturists spotted them in the Eden Project's shop, recognised them as poisonous and raised the alarm. The rosary pea has a tradition of helping as well as harming. Various parts of the plant have played an important role in the traditional medicines of its homelands, with many different applications recorded in scientific literature. The seeds are processed to remove the toxins and used as an aphrodisiac. The leaves are used to treat coughs and colds, and the root is used to treat malaria, snakebite, and stomach pains. Opinions vary as to how poisonous the leaves are. They are reported to taste sweet and are taken as an alternative to licorice, as they contain glycyrrhizin, the same chemical that gives licorice root its distinctive flavour. So much so that the rosary pea has the alternative name of Indian licorice. Scientists are still exploring the chemical compounds found in the rosary pea, but have found it has the potential to destroy cancerous cells. The Weatherman. There is one rather strange coda to the rosary pea story. There was a time when this plant was thought to be so good at predicting the weather that thousands of plants were transported around the world to create weather stations capable of predicting not only when rain was going to fall, but the coming of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions too, with an early warning of around 48 hours. The project was the work of Austrian scientist Joseph Novak. So confident was he that he took out a patent for his idea in 1887. Put simply, his theory was that leaves held horizontally meant that the weather was about to change. Vertical leaves meant good weather, while droopy leaves meant bad weather. Although the leaves of the rosary pea do indeed move, as do those of many species of the bean family, Tests carried out on the plants by scientists at Kew Gardens in London did not deliver the kind of accuracy promised by the professor, and his grand scheme never came to pass, soon superseded by more accurate methods of weather prediction.